I feel like we're in a really weird place with games a lot now, where it's about exploitation now. They
Well,
just want to exploit and as much money as they can. I think a game deserves to make billions of dollars if it's good enough, but
you feel like they're
when
tricking
they
people more?
yeah, it's exploitive, mate. Fortnite is a classic example of that, mate.
Yep. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Agreed.
The
As I'm
money.
playing it
I
right
don't
now,
have a
but
problem. I don't have a problem with having a game that costs the game that as good as that, Battle Royale specifically, that's free. Okay, and of course they want to make some money back. Of course they do. Why else the hell would they make games? Wouldn't make games if they couldn't make any money. Period.
right.
But charge 2,000 V-Bucks for a skin is extortion, man.
You know what though? The cool thing is you don't have to pay that. Like I bought this skin
I
just
know
with
you
the
don't,
Save the
but
World V-Bucks. You know?
yeah,
So if you're
yeah, but look how
if you're
hard you
dumb
put out
enough,
work to earn that. Jesus.
it's mostly
I
the
just
little
think there's no
kids buying
need
those
for it.
skins.
Yeah, that's the problem, mate. They know it's a massive kid phenomenon. Um, you can buy the Fortnite T-shirts now, and there's a Fortnite Monopoly coming out. This is how big this game is. They're making a Monopoly game out of it.
That's sort of the
That's good.
standard, isn't it? Like that's when you've made it in anything pop culture. When you're a part of pop culture is when they
Yes.
make a Monopoly
Yes,
game.
when they make a Monopoly out of it, definitely.
I was watching this video on YouTube and they were sort of talking about how Facebook was created and how they worked with people in the casino business to make it more addictive, to find out what things would trigger dopamine releases in the brain so that they could make it like the absolute most addictive thing. They sort of trickle out, like, example, you post something about yourself. Let's say a photo of you and your family at a
Yeah,
resort or on holiday.
yeah, yeah.
It will not get sent out in chronological order to the people who follow you or your friends list. It'll go
No,
out.
I'd noticed that. Yeah.
It'll go out in batches. So what that does, it does two things. One, it keeps your friends and family coming back, right? And then
Yeah, they trickle it out.
it keeps you coming back because you want to keep coming back for those likes, because you want people to like you, because you want to look good. You want, that's what a fundamental human need, right, is we need this sort of external approval, and we're supposed to get out of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 I totally. I mean, I showed you that article, didn't I, on the
Yes, you
BBC or
did.
whatever it was
Right, but what
about
I guess what the point I'm trying to make here, and I'm bringing it all back to games, is that Destiny did the same thing,
yeah,
or Bungie did the
that's
same
fine.
thing with
Games are
Destiny.
fundamentally built on the platform. They just are. It's fine. Definitely is fine. You get it. You get it when you open a llama, when you open a loot llama, when you open a foot pack, when you open an engram. These are just sort of basic chemical responses in your brain, and that's fine. That's okay. But the
It
way they've monetized it now is I don't know. They've
it's
just gone too far,
exploitative. Like
man.
you said, it's exploitation, man.
Yeah,
You said it. That's
yeah.
what it is. They're
And a lot of
exploiting.
games are just exploitive now. They're not good enough on their own right. They're just sort of fairly average games that include fundamental addictive dopamine-based response things in them, and they ask you to pay a nominal fee, which in isolation, everyone goes, oh, that's all right, I'll pay a couple of quid for a FIFA Ultimate pack or however much it is. But the problem is that like there's a big proportion of people out there in the world who just are way too easily susceptible to that, and you get people spending $300 on you know packs for FIFA and stuff, and it's just like that's no game is worth spending $300 on that. Even the game itself, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, and this, these are good examples. when you go, and that's fine if you're an adult and you can afford to pay for it, no problem. If you get fun out of it, that's fine. What you spend your money on is up to you. But when it's kids, man, and you hear all these stories about how, parents suddenly find out they've got £1,000 bill on their credit card because the PlayStation store, because they thought people on the packs and shit. Number one, stupid parents should have locked the accounts down. But it's just, it started with in-app purchases on, basic games on things like the iPhone, iPad, etc. And it's made its way into games, and it made its way into sort of free-to-play games. But the biggest problem for me is if it's a free-to-play game, and you can choose how much money you want to spend on that game, that's brilliant. If the game lures you in and then puts progress behind some kind of paywall via microtransactions or whatever, that's a bad thing. Because it's lured you in. You've sort of spent hours and hours playing the game, investing your time in it, and then you go.
And now they're asking for more money.
I've got to pay money now to keep playing it.
That's basically what Destiny did, though. I mean, in essence, if you don't buy the DLC, you're locked out of the game.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we said before, wasn't it? It's like, I kind of won't mind playing the game again. It's been long enough since I've played Destiny. And I know at the end of the day, hands down, one of the most solid shooters I've ever played ever.
Yeah.
But if I accept that I'm going to start playing the game again, I can't just spend £39 on it or whatever the DLC is. I have to buy the yearly pass, which is £69, £60, because by passing go and passing that green light to start playing a game again, I have to keep playing it. If not, I'm going to completely wait hundreds of hours and then hit a brick wall, because the DLC will come out and I'll either have to pay for it or choose not to. So that's just, you have to accept that if you're going to continue playing the game, you need to buy the yearly pass for it.
And see, I hate the yearly pass, season pass model.
Yeah,
it's horrible. Like, dude, like, you have to buy the DLC and the season pass? Like, how?
Yeah, that's bad. If they just said, here's the season pass, it's 40 quid. Because it's, in effect, in theory, it's not a full game release. The full game release and engine, we already own that. We already have it installed. In my case, I don't. I uninstalled it out of protest.
You uninstalled the game completely?
Yeah, of course I did, out of protest.
Kudos.
I ain't having this on my hard drive. I'm on moral and principled. I ran out of space. I looked through my list. I'm like, yeah, Destiny, that's taking up a huge amount of space. I'm going to just delete it.
Do you know if they monitor how many people are updating the game? Because, like,
God knows. Yeah, they have stats for everything, mate. They got the stats if they want them. I'm convinced of that.
Interesting.
They know. Christ, if they know how many people are running around in Crucible with a shotgun / Titan shield shoulder charge set up for Destiny Year 1 in PvP, then they know how many times people have downloaded the game versus how many people have actually bought the game versus how many people have the DLC, etc., etc., etc. They know all that information. It's all
right
there.
So I back to exploiting people with the games. I sort of feel like it's the engrams, all of that, the packs. It's all just, I don't know. It needs to go away, man. It does
need to go away. I'm trying to think right now where it all began. I'm sure, I don't know, I can't remember which games were the first early adopters to bring in the microtransactions thing. And as I say, if it's a free game and that game is as good in quality as a game that you would pay full price for, i.e. $60, but it's free, then the microtransactions thing is kind of fair, because you sort of feel like, well, this game is kind of worth $60, so maybe I will spend $60 worth of microtransactions in the game.
Right.
And that's fair, right? I'm not about people not getting paid for the hard work they do. That's totally fair. But when you've got these full price titles now, your FIFAs, your CODs, Battlefield, I'm not sure if it's, but I'm sure there is in-app purchases. Any EA game, right? You spend 60 quid for the game just to get it on your hard drive. Then they want to get another 2, 3, 400 quid out of you via microtransactions. And with games like FIFA Ultimate Team, the grind is so deliberately grindy in terms of the coins you get,
right?
That you go, oh, yeah, maybe, yeah, all right, 5 quid's not too bad for a pack, and then you don't get what you want. So you go, well, I spent 5 quid now. That feels like a complete waste of money. I need to spend another 5 quid so that I do get that play. It's the fruit machine philosophy. It's like I've stuck 5
Yeah,
quid
it's a slot machine, exactly. It's a casino, is what it is. Except you're not getting any money back at all.
Yeah, you're getting nothing. No. So I mean, I did it. I sort of knowingly went, right, I'm going to spend 10, 20 pounds. That was like my limit, full stop. I'll spend 20 quid on currency to buy some ultimate packs, because there were some cool ones on certain weekends, and I thought, yeah, I'll have a go at that. And frankly, I got nothing decent out of it, and I was just like, dude, why did you spend 20 quid on that? I could have bought a proper good game and got many hours of fun out of the game. But I knew that going in. That's fine. But I just think that you can't be that greedy. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't go, here's a game that you have to spend 60 quid on, and we're going to put microtransactions in it, and we're going to hide stuff behind DLC updates, Bungie, and we want you to pay for all of that stuff, and after you spent 100 quid on the full fat game and the yearly pass, and we fucked it up so monumentally badly, and we've had microtransactions in the game for a whole year, that after that year we're going to release another DLC, because that's all Forsaken is. It's another DLC, and we want another 70 quid out of you. It's like, fuck off.
I think maybe this is the wall, though. Maybe this is the point in history where everyone just says, you know what? We've had enough.
I mean, I don't know. No, I don't think so. Not yet, maybe. I thought that the Star Wars Battlefront 2 was going to be one of the turning points, because
yeah, that was a big to do, wasn't it?
That course was big, man. But unfortunately, the reason that got pulled was not because the whole world got a bit outraged about it. It was because Squeaky Clean Disney owned the franchise, and they went, "Oh no, you don't." These are someone that actually do care about their reputation, right? And they were like, "No, you ain't going to destroy our franchise with that kind of greed for something that we've already spent $3 billion on."
So it was the right response for the wrong reasons, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think that's the right response, but for the wrong reason. I couldn't have put that better. That's perfect. Yeah. So, and I thought this could be the changing of tide, and some developers have consciously gone, we're not going to do microtransactions, and I think some games have come out since and proved to be super awesome and do not include microtransactions, either by design or because they've gone, we probably should pull this out of the game. Spider-Man, what I'm playing now, doesn't have any in-app purchases in the game. There's no microtransactions in it. It's the fastest selling game of the whole year. No. There's no way to buy stuff in the game. Do you know how you do it? Good old-fashioned playing the game. You play the game, you go around, you complete objectives, you level up, you unlock new suits, you explore the city, and as you're swinging around, you find things like your old backpacks that you've left lying around, and you do other little activities, and that gives you in-game currency that you use, like research points that you use to upgrade gadgets, to unlock new gadgets, to unlock new suits, and to upgrade it, just like in the old days. The point of playing the game was to get the extra stuff.
Is there any planned DLC or anything?
There is some DLC, yeah, but that's enriching the game because that's going to add in more story elements, new supervillains, right?
So it'll be new stories, like new missions and
New
stuff.
story, new missions and stuff, and that's fine. I don't have a massive problem with that.
There's no
I'm still a bit
loot
simple.
crates or loot drops
No.
in that game?
No,
No skins?
no.
There's got to
No.
be some
There's
microtransaction in there.
There's suits. No, there's
None.
There's no microtransactions in this game.
That's insane.
Not as far as I can tell. There's no microtransactions in it. Yeah, there's suits, but they're more than just skins. The suits give you different powers. So, for example, there's probably...
And you can't buy them.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Does it have the black costume?
There's 25. Yes, there's 25 suits. Okay. You've got the Homecoming suit, the Stark suit, which is super cool. There's like the original cel-shaded suit from the original cartoon comic. But the suits give you some kind of power. So I'm using the Stark suit, and that gives you Spider Bro. So you pull out your little Spider Bro, and he starts running around shocking everybody, which is really useful, right? So it gives you
I
something,
can see that.
and it looks cool. So, and as well as that, you get suit mods, so you can mods on the suit to make you, tougher, less susceptible to bullets, etc., etc., other stuff. There's a black suit, which is Spider Armor Mark II, which is bulletproof. There's a Secret War suit. There is Negative suit, which is synchronizes nanomesh particles to unleash a devastating wave of negative energy. So I guess kind of like Venom, I don't really know. There's loads of suits, yeah. There's even like the original homemade suit, the one that he first makes that's basically just like a pullover hoodie and some jogging bottoms and a pair of socks. That's one of the suits, right? But you don't buy them, you unlock them through good old-fashioned hardcore playing and leveling up and doing certain stuff in the story. Right? There's no store. You can't buy shit for this game. Except DLC when it comes out.
Hey, what's up, Nino? You are here, sir. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Destiny Rehab podcast. Yeah, we're okay. So, yeah, that conversation is going to make a little less sense when I listen back. When I listen to it, that's okay. That's all right.
Come around and do some retakes.
It's amazing they don't default it to that.
They should.
Exactly. It should be the default value. That's stupid. Never ceases to amaze me, some of these choices they make when it comes to these.
It's okay. Little thoughts about me, wanting my Spider-Man costumes and my Rocksmith. It's okay. That was pretty much it. I just summed it up all right there.
Yeah. That was all you added to the conversation. Symbiote suit. And actually, I even reacted to it. So like, I don't know. I'll listen to it later. It's fine.
I think that'll still make sense.
Yeah.
The one I really want is a Scarlet Spider suit.
I never got
That
into
one.
Scarlet Spider.
There's a whole bunch of suits.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're like a question mark. Good old-fashioned question mark. Not trying to tease me in with microtransactions to show me the suit, but I still have it locked and say, you can't have it yet.
It's something to play for, though. That's fine. It's not deceptive.
I'm looking at it now. I'm gonna check it out. Oh, whoa.
You should just buy it, dude.
Don't show me a video.
I almost bought Dragon Quest 11 right now. I talked myself out of it, thankfully. I'm gonna wait for a sale.
Yourself out of buying pretty much every game, to be honest, man.
That's true.
Yeah. I also have to remember I'm on my brother's account.
Yeah. So yeah, don't buy it.
Well, that's all right. Then it's free game. It's fine.
That's even more.
You might find out. To be fair.
But here's the thing, though. You could just buy a PlayStation Network card with the money value, like say.
And then I put it on there.
Yeah, and then redeem the code, and then you could download the game.
Is that cheaper or?
No, but
deal right?
that way he doesn't have to use his brother's credit card or get into a situation where his brother's like, "Why are you spending my money?"
But
Which is a valid question.
But how many okay, there's a standard edition, but then there's the digital deluxe edition,
Yeah,
which
never
is
fall for the digital deluxe edition. Never. I looked at it. I was tempted. It's an extra £10. You
what did it
basically
have?
get nothing. I think it was a pre-order only. You could only get the digital deluxe if you pre-ordered. You got some skill points. So they gave you some skill points. You know, it's got a traditional skill tree that you unlock stuff, so you can make your swinging better and you can kick ass better, get better gadgets. And it gave you like 3 or 5 skill points from the get-go, which is utterly pointless because you're going to get those points anyway. It gave you access to one suit. That again, I think you can unlock, and then it gave you some crappy PlayStation themes that nobody wants anyway. I mean, who really wants that crap?
All right, let me see what I can. It says
It wasn't like you got
Marvel's.
the DLCs or nothing. I don't think, because I would have probably bought it if it had included a DLC pass. Or
Oh, like
that.
the season pass, quote unquote.
Yeah.
See, I don't mind spending $100 for a game if they're gonna throw in the DLC, like I did with Destiny
You
2.
get a deal out of it. Yeah. Well, we thought that was going to be a bargain, didn't we? Because we thought, well, that's actually quite cheap, because if you're going to play Destiny 2, and if you're going to play Destiny 2, you're going to play the DLCs, of course, because the game's going to be so good, right? Then I'm going to save money. But as it turned out, we wasted.
Well, what we didn't anticipate or understand or know is that they were going to remove features and then sell them back to us a year later. We didn't know that was going to happen.
Should have known better. I mean, let's look at Icebreaker and all those things. Galahorn.
So I think that was the main reason people were mad. That's certainly the reason I was mad. And I was looking at this video on YouTube where this guy was like, "Yeah, you should get it. It's, it's so good and this and that." And one of the guys goes, "This is not an accident. This is the second time this has happened. This is their business model now."
Yes, it is.
It's not.
Here's another thing as well.
It's intentional.
Just on YouTube views. Don't believe them. People that make YouTube videos have an agenda. That agenda is to get as many people to view the video as possible, so they get paid. Right? I can honestly say I think you really legitimately get an honest. I'm sure there's some people out there that do genuinely give an honest review and all the rest of it, but a lot of it is just trash talk, sensationalized, or over exaggeration of how good a thing is, or the way, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. Yeah, it's all hyperbole. Hyperbole is the word I was looking for.
Yes, hyperbole. Wow. Word of the week by Ricky V.
Yeah. I'm using all 8 years of my high school or all 8th grade of my every year of my 8th grade education there. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. Using every year of my 8th grade education on that hyperbole.
I'm not concentrating.
I blame comic books for that, though, for me saying words like that. That had nothing to do with our public school system.
That is a high level word, mate. You are end game language there. That's end game.
End game.
I've actually mentioned that before. I'm like, I was using big words when I was a kid, and I was like, that's what they write in the comic books.
Yeah, because that's how Thanos spoke.
That's fine. Doesn't matter where you learn it, does it? As long as you learn it and you know what it means.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from like Final Fantasy games, like text-based RPGs.
Yep, text-based RPGs. Yep.
I remember being very young and I didn't know how to pronounce behemoth.
Right.
And I was saying behemoth because that just I was a kid.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then someone was like, "What is behemoth?" And I'm like, "It's a bad guy on Final Fantasy 2." And then someone was like, "Oh, behemoth." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I didn't come to realize that meant big giant thing, until later.
And to add to that, I've been saying hyperbole up until one of the recent Bond films. Instead of hyperbole.
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 But yeah, man, that's I guess like he said, it doesn't matter where you learned it as long as you did it.
You know,
No, but I agree. I do. I have heard some YouTubers be critical, and I have seen some videos, but I think those are just as much clickbait as the buy this game now. It is the videos that start with a title like "I'm done with Destiny." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is what I'm going to call this podcast, by the way. I'm going to call it Destiny Rehab Podcast number 20, whatever. I'm done with Destiny. I'm going to call it that just because, the irony is thick.
Yeah, but then you need to go, I'm done with Destiny, exclamation mark, question mark.
Oh, you're right.
There you go.
You're right. I forgot about that. It's like, is he done? You got to tune in and listen to find out. You got to get them hits.
It's not that I'm completely done with Destiny. I'm too much of a gamer. I'm too much of a gaming geek to deny myself a good game. But I ain't paying the money they're asking for it right now.
Right. Same here. I will buy the game. And I've had this conversation with Nino as well. I'm going to buy the game. That's not a question. Am I done with Destiny? The answer is no, I'm not done with Destiny. I will buy the DLC for $20. Because that's what I feel they should be charging me for it. After paying $100 for the fucking base game, which was a complete and utter disappointment. And actually, I bought it on 2 consoles, although I got it for $10 on Xbox, so I can't really complain. But after buying it and paying $100, playing the 2 DLCs, I think I deserve, or maybe I don't deserve it, but it would be nice after everything we've been through. I don't know if
deserve is the right word. We got the game to where it was.
Yeah, that's true. We did. We absolutely did.
You take us and you multiply it by about 1 million people. There you go. There you have your Destiny community, which is always kind of regarded as one of the coolest, best communities in gaming on the web. Well, that's a budget. And and we played. We played it for 1,000 hours, man. 1,000 hours. I deserve something back for 1,000 hours. For Destiny. Just we put in the time, man. But I do want to play it. It's
I do too.
Game,
I do too. I absolutely do too.
So,
all right. Razer, here's a question for you. Did you play Red Dead Redemption?
Yep, got it. Got it on 360. Played it on the Xbox One. Backwards compatible, high res. Yep, good.
Yeah. So, and here's what I'm going to say is, I'm willing to give part 2 $100 if it's every DLC that's going to come out for that game. Yeah. Mainly because they waited, what is this, almost 9 years, 8 years to release this. Yeah, it's not like they were just cash grab. You know what I mean? It's
and
like
they could have released like a half-baked sequel 2 years, 3 years after the first one even, and said, hey, look, here's additional maps and additional modes, and here's a new, add a few missions and it's a whole new game. They could have done that, but they didn't.
So I'm like, I'll give them $100 for it. Because, God, man, just walking around that place, just experiencing the whole world, and they took their time. They really did.
This is why GTA 5 is still number 3 in the sales charts right now, 5 years after the game came out, because they took 4 or 5 years to make it. They made it properly. It does contain microtransactions for the online mode, but the online mode wasn't part of the main game when they released it. They released it later, quite a bit later, and it was free. So it follows that model, and that's okay and everything else. But the point is it's fundamentally a great game because they spent a long time making it. They know how to make good games, and the same will be true for Red Dead Redemption. One of the things that tells you something is good. I watched the trailer the other day. My wife Alex was in the room. She usually doesn't pay any attention to computer games whatsoever, and she caught it because I was watching the video. She was like, wow, how good do they make computer games now? So how good do these things look now? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, if you can make a casual say wow, then yeah, you're doing something right. Also, I think a lot can be said for the fact that it's GTA 5, And GTA 1 came out on the original PlayStation. And now, obviously, PlayStation 2 generation had 3 GTA games. You had Vice City and San Andreas. But as far as like, the full, giving it a number, GTA 5, there's 5 GTA games, main games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's very few games. Yeah, absolutely.
How many Call of
There's
Duties
very
are there?
few-
How many Call of Duties have come out since PlayStation 2? How many
7,
how many
10?
FIFAs? How many
10?
Maddens?
11?
Well, there's one for every year, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. And there's one, and Call of Duty, same thing. There's one every year.
I think to a certain extent you can half justify the yearly release because the teams and the rosters, from your perspective on NFL, do change. But they could just as easily do that with a once yearly DLC update, and then every couple of years, maybe every 3 years, they actually release a new full fat version of the game because they spent 2 or 3 years properly tweaking and making the engine better. So that one's sort of somewhere in the middle ground. But I see it is EA, so let's not forget they are the devil.
They are evil incarnate. So
They totally are.
let me ask you guys this. This question's for both of you. If you were making a like a head-to-head showdown of which company is more evil, would it be EA or would it be Activision? There can only be one.
I would have to say Activision because they have. I know for a fact they're the ones pulling the strings. I know that Bungie are a good software house. They do know how to make a damn good game, and I do suspect heavily, 95%. I might be being generous, but I do suspect a large proportion of the design choices implemented in that game and implemented in the sequel are down to Activision being
Greedy. Yeah.
no, you will make the game this way. We pay for you to exist, Bungie. We own you. We bought you. You are our bitch, and you will make the game how we want you to make it. And that is why, because they've ruined one of the best games in Destiny. They've also done it to COD. COD, I used to love the original CODs, COD 1 and 2. And I on the PC, before you guys even knew what COD was on the console, there was a Call of Duty on the PC that was made by a development team called Infinity Ward. Right?
Infinity Ward, yeah, absolutely. They made Advanced Warfare and Advanced Warfare 2. Or not Advanced,
they're the ones that
Modern.
make the sort of game
Modern
between,
Warfare.
They make the first one and then they farm it out to a third-party developer who makes the sequel the next year, and then it gets made by someone else the third year.
Treyarch.
And then the year after that, they come back, and then Infinity Ward make the one that's usually pretty damn good. Well, once upon a time, I don't think they were owned by Activision. So again, that model that they've gone to this yearly release model, and there's a reason that the ones in between are a bit meh. Ghost, and Black Ops 3 or whatever. Or
well, there was a shift too, though. And when Modern Warfare came out, the first one, and then World at War came out, and then that was Treyarch. And then at some point, Infinity Ward stopped being Infinity Ward. Like the guys left. Yes. There was all this.
Because probably all the key people, the real reason that makes that game good, they went, fuck this. I ain't waiting for this coming. This is how these things work, isn't it? And I bet the same is true for Bungie. And
a lot of the main guys.
That's why I would say, Activision are the worst because they've ruined they've sort of aggressively bought some software development companies, and then they've kind of ruined the franchises and leached as much as they can. EA, they've done the same sort of thing to a large extent, but their games were never as good. That's what I would say.
Okay, so Activision's more evil because they ruined games that were good. Not only are they releasing bad games, but they also are ruining good games.
EA do publish some really good games. No two ways about it. But those games were never as good as the best versions of Destiny and the best versions of COD.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the best version of Guitar Hero.
Anything to add, Nino?
No, I totally agree with him. He said everything.
He said it all. He did. He really did.
Very nice.
I'm just talking from the geeky heart.
So Activision is the champ. They are the world champion of terrible publishers. According to us, to the Destiny Rehab podcast.
It's a bit like...
Take a bite.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of movies that the franchises kind of get bought by different...
Like Disney buying Star Wars?
You could argue, but hang on, whoa! I'm just gonna say, in defense of Disney buying Star Wars, yes, they have cashed in on that cash cow, and they're milking it dry. And at this moment in our Star Wars lives, I'm actually a bit bored of Star Wars because they're releasing them too quickly now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's too many of them. They're coming out too quickly. We need bigger gaps. But they're at least better than the prequel trilogy, aren't they? Let's face it.
Yeah, they are. I can agree with that. I thought Rogue One was excellent.
I was gonna say that's like number 2 on a lot of people's lists right there.
It's number 2 for me. I freaking love Rogue One. I absolutely love that movie. I love it.
I like Force Awakens and I like Last Jedi. I like them.
I didn't like Last Jedi. I didn't like that one. I tried. I did. I even reserved judgment. Me and Nino. Actually, Nino went with me. Remember Nino? We went to go watch it. And you said, what do you think? And I was like, what did I say? What was the first thing I said?
I don't know right now.
Yeah.
Like that.
I was like, I think I need to watch it again. I don't know how I feel. Because it didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right. You know?
Yeah. Rick, did you see Solo?
I did.
I haven't seen that. This is what I'm talking about. In terms of,
perfectly
Star
happy.
Wars.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Star Wars. Yeah.
I liked
It
it.
answered questions that you didn't even want to even think to ask a question to.
Yeah. They made up a whole mythology around things, that little details, which I thought was cool, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. You should watch it, Raze.
It comes out in about 2 weeks on general release. And
Well, I don't want to pump up your expectations and tell you it's the most amazing thing ever, but it's competent and it's well done.
I don't have those high expectations. I kind of have a fair gauge of what I think it's going to be like, in terms of where it will be in terms of 0 to 10 on the scale of excellence. But I'm happy with that, and I'm a sucker for Star Wars. Obviously, I'm also a sucker for special effects in films that just look really fucking nice.
Popcorn flicks, you would say?
Yeah. And 4K and HDR is just like
surround sound.
Money on the tech, so I kind of want to get something out of it. So, which incidentally, Infinity Wars is mind blowing. That just looks and sounds mind blowing.
Yeah, I need to watch that still at home. I've seen it twice at the theater, but I haven't watched it since I've owned the movie.
Because you remember, and I think Nino was in the chat, or he was around your house, and we were on a chat, and I was bemoaning my boredom of Marvel.
You were, yeah, I remember that. I do remember that.
Marvel film. If I see another Marvel film, I'm going to puke. I didn't really say it that way, but I was a bit bored of it. There was too much of it. It was all very samey, similar format. And you were like, "Have you seen Black Panther yet?" And I'm like, "No." And you were like, "Well, can't really complain. You haven't really seen that yet. Have you seen Infinity War?" I'm like, "No." And
had you seen Thor Ragnarok?
War, I hadn't at the time. I did watch it subsequently.
Okay, before you saw Infinity War.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen them all in proper order.
Okay, good.
But there was a massive buzz around Infinity War, and everyone was talking about it, and so you kind of know it's really awesome. And then I watched it, and I was just like, yeah, it's worth all those other 19 films were worth it. Yeah, really good. I mean, I went out and bought my first comic book. Rick sent me those comic books. I read the Thanos' Quest.
Oh, good. You read the whole thing.
I know you sent me Infinity Gauntlet as well as part of that, but I felt obliged to go out and buy the hardback copy of it that's got all the 6 comics.
Oh, you bought the Infinity
cool.
Gauntlet comic book? Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I'm really glad
Yeah,
you did that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's worth it. You know, this is if something's good enough, it's worth my money at the end of the day.
I would
That's the way
say that it's my favorite comic book ever. And anything by Jim Starlin is really, really, really worth your money. So.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I've lived a sheltered life, like one of these people that got locked in a cellar for their whole life by their parents or some weird twisted dude kidnapped them.
Jesus.
You know, they're really real life, right? But within the context of comic books, because I've never read a comic book, right? Not properly. And so this was that good. It was like, I need to read comics now. I'm going to read these comic books, and they're super good. I haven't read Gauntlet yet, but I will be.
Good. I'm glad.
So that was cool, man.
You completed both parts of the Thanos quest?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Loved it. Yeah, it's good. Really good.
Yeah, he's a cunning guy, that Thanos.
Yeah, well, I think that's what I liked. After you get past the super visual special effects and how lush and awesome it looks in 4K, and the HDR colors and the darks and the contrast and all that shit and the epic storyline and everything else and that ending and blah blah blah. Thanos essentially is why I really liked it as well. He's a big part of that.
Because he's not wrong, is he?
He's not wrong.
Not right, but he's not wrong.
He's not right, he's not wrong. He's not like a really cheap, bad guy that's just like, I'm a fucking psycho, I just want to kill stuff because I hate everybody. And also, unlike most films, a big proportion of the film focused on Thanos. Like, he's in most of the scenes.
Yeah,
You know
it really was his story.
It really was, and it's not really billed that way. You don't really expect it to be that way. But he gets more screen time than any of the other superheroes. Some of them only. I mean, it's a crowded film, right? It's crowded.
It is.
One of the reasons I really didn't like. I liked the original Spider-Man trilogy, the Sam Raimi ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have their faults. I know Tobey Maguire's a bit of a douche in it. But I liked them. I liked the first and the second one, but then you get to the third one and it really smacked of he knows he's not making any more. They've tried to cram too many characters in this. There's not enough room for them all, which is why it suffered really. And so I suppose without the other 19 films, Infinity Wars would suffer from the fact that there's way too many characters in it. Right, and some of them get like 2 lines in the whole film, but yeah, it's super awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And what's amazing to me is that Infinity War was as competent of a movie as it was, considering the fact that they had so many characters, so many plots going on, but they wasted no screen time. I feel like they really. You know, they didn't go, oh, this is Iron Man. You should, they assume you've seen the other movies. So that was good.
You have to have done that for sure. And it was just epic. It had those epic proportions. And the other really key aspect of it is it leaves you wanting more because of the ending. But also more than that, there are other little bits throughout the film that allude to something else that it doesn't. So they've almost taken it to that kind of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think that was the model.
Series style. Yeah, the model, exactly, where they've gone like, well, we've got a little thing here with the Hulk, and there's this sort of thing where he's just had his ass kicked, and now he's a bit scared to come out, and what's that all about, and what does that mean? And then you know the fact that Tony Stark is fundamentally key to the entire thing. And not least because he is, if you look on the cover, who's slap bang in the middle of all of those characters.
Oh, you're right. I hadn't even thought about that.
Look at the cover on it, dude. He's right in the middle.
And Thanos spared his life. And Doctor Strange knew. Doctor Strange knew enough. He knew enough. Yep, he knew enough to fucking
gave him the stone, and he gave him the stone because he looked at 14 million different outcomes, and there was only one that worked, and that one that worked was the one where Tony Stark has to be alive.
Right?
Because before they get to that point, old Doctor Strange, who's not my favouriteest of characters, says, if it comes down to between the stone and you fools are dead. I don't care about you fools.
Yeah, he even didn't like Stark. Stone. They didn't like each other because they're essentially the same. They're the same player on the team. You could only have one striker, right? You could only have one goalkeeper. And Doctor Strange and Iron Man were the same. They were both goalkeepers, or they were both strike. You know what I mean? They took up the same spot on the pitch. That's why they didn't like each other.
Yeah. So there's all those things to it that leaves you really wanting more and really wanting to understand what's that all about. And it also makes you want to go back and watch the other 19 films again, because you think, oh, where are there other clues and things in all those films?
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. You got to remember, Marvel's been around for, damn near 80 years, 70 years, 60 years? 50? Exactly. How many?
30s, I want to say.
God, almost 100 years, man. So they've got so much.
They already knew the story, didn't they? They already knew the main story arc.
Well, I remember them saying from the beginning that it was going to be Avengers. They were building towards Avengers, and everyone was like, oh, well, they got to do Infinity Gauntlet because who's a better villain than Thanos? Like, he's the best.
Took him 10 years to get there.
Top job, top movie, loved it. Started watching some of the other ones back again. I bought the comic. I'm balls deep now. And it's,
I was
love it. Super good.
I was saying that I think one of the big reasons that DC screwed up was they brought in Doomsday right away.
Yeah, they overplayed their hand. They went real quick. They went all in. All in. He's the one who kills Superman.
In which Superman?
In
Batman versus Superman.
Batman versus Superman. Yeah.
For me, I think the biggest problem with the DC comic adaptations, movie adaptations, is Ben Affleck.
Really?
He's fundamentally, yeah.
He did a good Bruce Wayne, though. He played Bruce Wayne perfectly. Like, I liked his Bruce Wayne. He was exactly how the comic book Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I never read the comic books. Okay,
I'm gonna die.
I have a weird past when it comes to, or a weird education, shall we say, when it comes to Batman. In that, the first thing I remember ever seeing about Batman was not the comic books. It was the Adam West TV show.
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. That's the first time I ever encountered Batman. Was a lycra-bound camp show with silly sort of boom and bop and pow stuff superimposed onto the video. So that wasn't a good start for Batman. Then we had the 90s Batman with Michael Keaton. Awesome. I like that film. That's pretty good. Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Very good. The sequel was okay-ish. What was okay? I think if I watched it now, I'd probably hate it. Then they kept going, and then it just went really bad. The one with Arnie in it as Liv Dovries was terrible. I think there was some more after that. I can't remember. Then it got a new hope because it got completely rebooted. Christopher Nolan got involved, and those films are fucking brilliant, man. I love them films. They're brilliant.
Oh, I got a bronze medal. Fuckers.
And they got Affleck in, you know.
Val Kilmer wasn't a great Batman either, in my opinion. Val Kilmer, I didn't think he was great.
Val Kilmer, no, horrible. George Clooney, what the fuck were they thinking? No, no.
Agreed.
They might as well got Keanu Reeves in to play fucking Batman. Christ.
Who?
Keanu.
Did they? I don't remember that.
No, he's saying
Might
it.
as well.
Oh, might as well.
Might as well have done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. But the Christopher Nolan ones are epic. I love them. They're superb. Just wow.
Oh yeah, the Christopher. Well, we were talking about that at the recent UFC event on Saturday, and we talked about Logan and we talked about Dark Knight, and we used those as examples of comic book movies that transcended the genre. Because if you take Logan and you just forget that it's a comic book movie and you just put anyone in that role, it's an amazing film. Just the way it was shot, the story, the relationship between him and Xavier, all of that. I mean, obviously, it being Wolverine and having all the context of all the other movies elevated the story, elevated the whole thing. But the movie stands alone as an amazing film, I think.
It totally does. And here's an example of that.
Dark Knight, same thing.
I went out for lunch about 2 weeks ago with some people from work, and there's a guy I work with, and he's a bit older, but he's not a big comic book guy or massive movie buff or anything like that, but he does watch some movies. And we were talking about Infinity War, and he was sort of looking at us a bit confused because he really didn't know what we were talking about. And he said, I think I sort of watched this sort of superhero movie the other day, but I really like a superhero movie, and it was really awesome. And you couldn't remember what it was even called. I'm like, you watched Logan, right? And he's like, yeah, that's the one. And so he liked it because fundamentally it was just a good film.
Yeah, and it is.
Not because you're predisposed to liking it, because we're all just comic book buffs, you know? Where are we going, Rick?
Oh, yeah, true. Let's go to Wailing Woods. What do you think?
I think that might be risky, but I'm willing to go with it because I don't really care.
I'm gonna have to get out of here. The kids just woke up from their naps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for jumping in. Let me just say before you go, finish this part here is that the Dark Knight was another one that we said that it's a crime film. Forget that it's Batman, forget that it's Joker, and it's an excellent crime drama.
He's a terrorist. He's not a
Yeah, he's a terrorist. Exactly. It's a film about terror and it's about crime. And it's a crime drama is what it is.
Yeah.
And masterfully done.
And won Academy Awards.
Yeah, a comic book movie that won Academy Awards. How far have we come in 20 years? Good Lord.
Thank God.
I know.
All right, guys. Nice
All right,
talking
Nino.
to you.
All right,
Catch you later.
Yeah, cool, man. Take it easy, dude.
Take it easy, man. So yeah, dude, I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch them again real soon. The Christopher Nolan trilogy of Batmans. But I quite liked just to carry on the scenario about the more recent attempts at the DC comics. I liked the Henry Cavill Superman.
Me too.
like those.
Man of Steel. I like that movie. Yeah.
That feels awesome. Which one's there is a sequel, right, with General Zod in it, or is that the Man of Steel one?
No,
I can't remember.
that was Man of Steel.
That was Man of Steel. That was brilliant. Super good.
Do you have weapons?
Then they did Batman versus Superman, and I never really kind of... It's one of those films that you sort of decide up front that you don't really... Oh, I'm dead already. Someone above you, dude. Behind you. I sort of decided up front that I wasn't going to like that film because it didn't make any sense to me. Behind you.
Oh, I screwed up. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Wrong place, wrong start.
Yeah.
If it's on the flight path, I don't think it's ever a good place to go.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Rule.
Yeah, I think you're right.
As far away from the flight path as possible. Plus, we were talking DC anyway, but I mean, he's not the worst Batman in the world, but I just don't think that no one could really follow the Christopher Nolan mill. It's going to take quite a bit of time before they can make Batman movies again.
Yeah, because you can't just go from that Christopher Nolan movie to whatever, you know what I mean, whatever you're going to... They should have really just gone with Man of Steel and let that movie breathe. You know, let that story play out.
Yeah, there was no need to kind of reintroduce Batman again. I was looking forward to another just Superman movie. I'm like, oh wow, they finally kind of got Superman right for me. The
Yeah, they
tone of
did.
it, and the actor was pretty cool in it. And I love General Zod, the character that he plays. He's a bit dark,
It was that kind of
it
Dragon
was
Ball
sort of
Z
on that
fight
Avengers
too, that
scale.
super battle between
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
It was
super
over the
battle.
top, but that's
It
what
was
it
on.
needed to be.
Yeah, it was on that Avengers scale where actually the whole planet is fucked here if he
Yep.
doesn't do what he needs to do, and there was kind of the political aspect of it of like, hey, this dude's an alien and we don't trust him and blah blah blah. And then they went, oh, do you know what we need? We need to bring Batman back into it again. No, you don't. Leave him out of it. We don't need Batman
And I
right
don't know
now.
when this thing started where you have to have two enemy, like you have to have two villains in a
Yeah, an
movie.
enemy versus enemy. Yeah.
Like, oh, we have to
Yeah.
have the Joker and Two-Face. We have to have Doomsday and Lex Luthor. Like, just have one. Just mano a mano, man. 1v1.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know why they think that's the thing. I think they just run out of ideas and they go, well, it's a numbers game. We need more enemies in it. We need more.
More. Less is, you know what's more?
Yeah.
Less is more.
Less is more. Less is definitely more. In a lot of ways. Avengers is different. I mean, that's just a different scenario.
Well, yeah, Avengers was Avengers. It was meant to be that. Just like Justice League was meant to be
I think that's
Justice
the
League.
problem.
But look at the difference in the
Avengers is so
execution on Avengers versus Justice League. We're talking like at least 10 movies before they even got to fucking Avengers.
Yeah. They've tried to cheat. They've tried to get there quick. They've tried to copy the format. They've seen how much money Avengers made and all this
Wonder
sort of
Woman
stuff.
was good. Speaking of copying the format, speaking
I've
of
not actually seen that. I've not actually seen Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman
I need
is
to watch
it's an exact clone of a Marvel film done by DC.
Isn't it?
It's not overcomplicated. It's not cluttered. It's clean. It's funny. It's compelling. It's well done. It's a
Yeah, it
good
looked
film.
pretty good. I must say that's one that's just sort of seems to have sort of passed me by at this stage, but I will definitely watch it. Um,
It is well done, man.
but yeah, I mean, it's just like don't introduce Aquaman and who else was there in the Justice League?
Flash,
I can't remember.
Cyborg.
Flash. So, I mean, yeah, who are all these people? I don't care enough about any of these people right now. Batman shouldn't even be in there. Let's just have we can afford to have a Man of Steel trilogy before we start talking about
Yep. Trilogy, exactly. They should have had a
shoring
trilogy.
up.
It's exactly right.
Have a trilogy. Introduce some of these characters, maybe. Just by they crop up in a scene or
Should grab that
involved
shopping
in
cart.
some small way. But they've tried to take a shortcut to try and jump on the Marvel wagon, the Avengers wagon, and it doesn't work because of that. Because they tried to shortcut it. They haven't spent 10 years making movies and deliberate trilogies that are all interlinked with an overarching storyline. They're trying to take the quick route to it, and yeah, this doesn't really work very well for that.
No, man.
I like Man of
It
Steel,
took
though.
that many movies. It took 10 years of Marvel movies to get to where we got with Infinity War. And there's a reason why it worked, because it was executed correctly with care. You can't rush these things, man. These things take time, as Morrissey says.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am hungry for the next Marvel film.
Which will be the Endgame movie, right?
It'll be no. We've got Captain Marvel due out before we've got.
Oh, really? That's dope. I'm glad they're doing that, because they're not just going to throw her into the movie. They're going to actually build her up.
Exactly. Again, it's a considered, planned approach. People need to.
You need
have
guns?
to digest the character, and if you do have an AR, I've only got a burst.
I just got a purple. I think you might have gotten it. You might not have gotten it. I just got a scar, purple scar. I feel kind of bad.
Don't
I don't know why I feel bad about it, but I do.
use it anyway.
I'll take the medikit. I'll carry it. No, I'll carry it. You could use it, but I'll carry it.
No. I wouldn't laugh at the Medicare. I would just laugh about the fact I'd probably die before to use the AR anyway.
Oh, fair enough.
So yeah, I mean, Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, we gotta go.
And it has sort of spawned me watching a lot of films lately. I've watched a lot of films in the last couple of weeks, man. A lot of films.
Yeah, I really need to.